Hello, everybody. Today, we're going to do punk activism during the lockdown. 10 questions with Gianna. Before we ask her the questions, we're going to show you this disturbing video that was recorded a couple months ago at a protest in Bakersfield. Thank you for Gianna for sending this video and sharing it with us.
We are one! We are one! We are one! We are one! Probably? Hey, probably.
Happy 2020! Motherfucker, do something stupid!
We are one!
Do something! Do something!
We are
Do
one!
something, motherfucker! Do something! Watch what happens! Do something, motherfucker! 2020, shut the fuck up!
You guys are so cool! I got...
You guys understand what the court is advocating violence?
You got recorded doing that. This guy needs to be followed down to this court.
What's up? What's up?
Who got tased, bro? Who got the taser off, dude?
Hi, can you tell us about what went on the video from the Bakersfield with the Black Lives Matter protests? Do you think this was planned counter-protest by the alt-right? Because I see in the video they were positioned in the front and back, blocking BLM protesters. I also heard that minors were attacked as well from grown men. Do you know what groups or alt-right organizations were there? As in who did this and what else went on that video we did not see?
Okay, so that video that you're referring to is from the Breonna Taylor vigil we had organized here in Bakersfield. We had a designated area right in front of the Bakersfield police station, and it was barricaded for us. So we had a barrier. We had about a good solid 5 hours, of beautiful protesting, unity, people coming by and really, really sharing their new ideals. We even lit a bunch of candles and had a beautiful moment. And right as we were having that beautiful moment, I look up and I'm probably one of the first ones you can see in the video run over to the group. And you just see carloads, truckloads, lifted trucks, Trump flags just coming by the parade. The parade. I mean, there were hundreds and hundreds of them. And at this point, Bakersfield's protest had kind of already gotten a lot smaller. And I think there was maybe 30 of us again, there. And unfortunately, most of the people there are within age range of like 17 to like 30, and a lot of them are 17, 18, 19-year-old kids, and they're doing what we should be doing, making the movement. This was definitely a planned alt-right counter-protest. They actually met up at a local bar that's still operating. It's Chewy's. It's a known local, predominantly white neighborhood. They came from there, all in their parade trucks, and drove by us yelling profanities, racial slurs, everything and anything you can think of. Most of them hopped out of their cars, jumped, threatened people, and then they drove off. At that point, we thought, okay, this is the gist of it. They came by, they drove by, this is what this is about, it's okay. And then we start looking around and about 100 just come start marching down. First of them, there's a first group. So they definitely had this planned. They came in numbers and they were organized. Like, I have to be real. These are very not smart people. They were very cruel, mean people, but they were very planned. There is even video of them being told where to park by our local police department, and how to get around us in the back of the barricade. So what they first did is they walked up, and we're again ready for confrontation or ready to talk. But it just escalated quickly. Within the first group walked around and they actually circled behind the barricade while the rest of us were arguing and confronting the second group of people. So before we even knew it, we turned around and we were completely surrounded. There was no getting out, there was no anywhere, and that's when everything just turned violent quickly. Unfortunately, they did not care who they were punching or who they were threatening, and that's how it went down. There was a few trans women that were next to me that got assaulted, and you can actually see in the video. There was one gentleman who was was black, and he had dreadlocks, sorry, and they literally attacked him full-fledged. Like they knew exactly who their targets were. And when they came out, they were not there to show diplomatic talking or anything like that. First thing someone told me, I need to wash my skin, get the brown off of me. The next one told me to turn on the lights so the cockroaches will leave. These are all being shouted out with, of course, other racial slurs that I will never say. And it escalated quickly. Unfortunately, we were not prepared. We were just not ready for that kind of quick violence and that quick escalation. This was planned by a few different groups in Bakersfield, and they are very strong and they are very proud groups. They get a lot of support, but it's the Patriots 1776. There's the Proud Boys of Bakersfield. Unfortunately, they don't even care that they hide their name, Proud Boys of Bakersfield. And the last was the Lexit movement. That is like Latinos who vote outside their race. It's like this whole movement of conservative followers that, solely believe that we are here to do the devil's work. There was actually video circulating of just a local bus station, the Amtrak bus station, but people were circulating it on Facebook saying that it was Antifa and that we were bussed in. I was definitely told I was getting paid $25 an hour by George Soros, right? Who knew, man? I didn't know I was getting paid to believe in civil rights, but that's what happened. And I can't even, it was definitely embarrassed to be from Bakersfield at that moment in my life. But I think the worst parts were these same groups resharing their violent videos of them punching women, children, I mean, to me, they're 17, they're children, and they were proud. It was shared proudly. In fact, it was even shared into Florida. Some guy off of InfoWars was sharing about how proud, this is how Bakersfield handled Antifa, and this is the example that we're supposed to be leading, and it's just sickening. And what's worse was seeing the people in my community believing them and believing that this is what has to happen.
Wow, that's crazy, like spreading false rumors and all that. They're good at doing that kind of stuff.
It just hops on like wild cakes around here, I mean, not only were they prepared, but they had reached out to their local, like our local weaponry place. So there was army tanks, retired army tanks with guns pointing at us, driving by on a regular basis. Like, it's crazy. It was just unbelievable. And it happens, and it's happening in small towns everywhere.
All right, question number 2. I also noticed that a lot of folks who live in small towns are having these problems, and people are scared to attend BLM marches. What are some things we can do to make these rallies safe when you live in a town where the majority of the people are Trump supporters or against BLM protesters?
100%. And this is something that we're struggling with constantly. Every time we go protest and every time something happens, we learn new techniques to protect ourselves. Who I have to give the biggest thanks and the biggest shout out is to our local skate community. Literally the skaters have been saving lives going around, and when we do our actual march. Now for Bakersfield protests, it is very limited. And so we are kind of limited to our one small barricaded area, but we do march, you know, we do sit downs, we do 8-minute sit downs, and, you know, peaceful protests as much as we can, or as much as our ability is allowing us to, you know, and I rambled. And so it's just, it's hard to stay safe. I feel like our skaters, like it's like I said, I was going back on skaters, like they would literally skate in front of us and just block intersections to help us. I tell people to be more safe in our communities or in small town communities. Protesting early generally helps. Going out during the day tends to be a little bit safer, because once the night hits, people start drinking and then the alt-right just comes out. And you know, making sure that there's not counter protests around the area, and you know, just staying close and staying within the community. We can only protect each other's at this point. Like there's no one else that's going to save us and no one else that's going to care. So at this point, the small community that we have is all we have.
Wow. Question number 3. Cars have hit protesters more than 100 times this year. People are scared to attend rallies. What are other alternative things folks can do who don't want to attend street rallies?
This one hits personal for me. And that 100 people that have gotten hit, 2 of them were from Bakersfield. Within our first night of the George Floyd beginning protest, we had a man run through the protest twice and strike a 15-year-old woman, or young lady, sorry, not woman. And then a few days later, this man was glorified. He was posted online, and, you know, and no one could see if, you know, people are blocking traffic, then they deserve to get hit. And that was a very big mentality around Bakersfield, which led to another incident. We had a protest. This one's gonna get me, man. I'm sorry. I get emotional about this one. Robert Forbes, one of the fighters with us, unfortunately, we was stuck down. I think the 3rd night of protest, I remember it was June 3rd, was stuck down by a Nazi. Nazi. He had tattoos to match everything, you know? I mean, I don't know him personally, but he drove down a crowded street full of protesters, with protesters all saying he had no lights on. I did not witness it, so I will not say anything. And he got to walk away free. In fact, he got a police escort free. And Robert Forbes, unfortunately, did not succumbed to his injuries and is no longer with us. And his killer in Bakersfield just did not believe that they deserve justice, unfortunately. So I will say, I tell people, if you're scared to attend street rallies, which is understandable. I mean, it's happening. You know, it's not happening other places, it's happening in our town, you know. Do what you can. Learn your limits of protest. Protest doesn't have to be street rallies. It could be online. It could be not purchasing at certain places. It could be protesting certain areas, just voicing your opinion, sharing your opinion with people, just talking. Like, all these are forms of protest, helping other people out, donating money. And my biggest thing is mutual aid. If we can't agree upon everything, we can at least agree upon things that people need. And those are the ways that I feel like you can reach out, still protest, and be safe.
Wow. Wow, may all those folks been out there. Much respect and love to everyone who got injured or got killed and stuff. May they rest in paradise. All right, question number 4. Why are street protests important to you? What impact have street rallies made in history?
Oh, I mean, no good change or no great revolution doesn't come without a street rally. And the compassion and the unity you feel at a street rally, just knowing that there's like-minded people who have the same issues, problems, concerns, are with you, you know? I tell people that they need to attend a street rally solely for the unity, just to remember why you're there, why you're fighting, why this is important, why we can't stop talking, why we have to be a part of it. And street rallies, also too, bring opportunities to talk to other people, organize, to get things together, talk about. Most of the people that I do mutual aid with and Food Not Bombs, you know, I met at protests and at rallies, and it's important to me. I believe it's the heart and soul of this revolution or of this change. And I think without street protests, nothing would change. Unfortunately, we have to match these injustices with our voices, or with whatever you feel is appropriate for your protest. I never tell anybody how or what they can do to protest. It's all your limits. So do what you got to do and keep fucking fighting.
Question number 5. You are also involved with Food Not Bombs during the lockdown and COVID-19. What are some things your chapter has done this year?
Oh, so with Food Not Bombs, we've been mostly focusing. I mean, food is always the source, but we've been switching our mutual aid more into like COVID help. Our hygiene kits or supplies are usually masks, socks. We do emergencies, hand sanitizers, soap, basic alcohol wipes, basic things that we as a community who have a house take for granted and can use to defense against COVID. So our mutual aid is still going and still going strong. I think, in fact, it's stronger now than it's ever been. But we just keep on going and just make sure that the houseless community has the same, or at least the equal access to the things that we have to stay safe. I mean, let's be real, we have a higher chance of surviving COVID in our own home, and it would just be heart-wrenching to see our houseless community start to suffer from it, which they already are, but more than they are, you know.
Also, for those who haven't heard Food Not Bomb, it's a group of collective gives out free food to anybody who's hungry and stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 6. Also, you are involved with Sidewalk Producer 2. Can you give us more info on that, please? And how do you have all the time with your work schedule?
So that is the Sidewalk Project. That is fairly new for me. I just got added on. The Sidewalk Project is, they are making moves. They're in Orange County. They work with a lot of other Food Not Bombs as well. What they do is help the city in ways that we desperately needed help. And I'm so excited that I finally got to bring it into Bakersfield. The Sidewalk Project does safe usage. So already within the first week of me working with them, they've got me connected with needle syringe and safe exchange for Bakersfield, as well as like helping me get contracts with condoms and things like that, and helping me just move the legislation in the city council into allowing these things, because people don't realize, but mutual aid is not technically allowed here in Bakersfield. They frown against it, and we do have to work around that and still keep fighting with the community and making sure that we get everybody what they need. But I'm really, really excited with the Sidewalk Project. It's Fat Mike from NoFX, and so it's really, really cool to see. Yeah, like part of their thing is you have to be punk or an artist or creative collective, and I'm just really excited to see what they can help bring to Bakersfield, because we're struggling. We're struggling as a small city and as a small town, and we don't have the help that other cities have.
Don't you also help animals and stuff?
Oh, yes. Sorry. So along with the Food Not Bombs and the Sidewalk Project, what we do is I started making dog bags for the houseless community. Let's be real, all of our houseless community, usually has an animal, and we love our animals more than anything in the world. And it is probably one of the best things on Sunday I get to do is walk a bag full of dog treats up to a dog. I mean, they know I'm coming, they know I'm there, but we do dog treats, we do flea medicine, and I'm about to get vouchers for vaccinations and stuff like that as well. And then also too, with the side project and Food Not Bombs, I've been able to get housing. So Mercy House just came into Bakersfield. I know they're in Orange County and in other big cities, but they just got it. So I'm able to register our houseless community, at least for a house for the night, or at least for a week. So that's been really, really fucking cool. That's been a game changer, just getting people in a house, or at least for a little bit.
Question number 8. How do you not get burned out and still have hope in humanity? What makes you keep going and have hope? What inspires you?
Um, it's really hard. It's really hard not to get burnt out. I know activists all over, especially punk activists who have extreme or what would be considered extreme ideas or anything. It's hard to keep going and keep yelling at a community or speaking to a community that just doesn't want to hear you. But that's just not me to give up, you know? Burnouts do happen, but I'm gonna say someone's name. Her name is Bianca Cruz. I helped her last Sunday. I gave her a jacket. That's all I did. I just gave her a jacket. And she came back up to us. I spun her around and told her how good she looks, and she walked away. And then about 20 minutes later, she came back up and she started crying and gave us this whole speech about maybe tonight she's not going to have to be cold, you know. Maybe tonight she's not going to have to look for a house, because I did get her hooked up with housing that night, you know. That's the shit that inspires me. That's the shit that keeps me going. I don't care about the 20 people that tell me I'm doing something wrong, or the community that doesn't believe in what we're doing. Bianca does. And that's all that matters. So.
Question number 9.
Okay.
What was the punk scene like in your area before COVID-19? And what kind of changes would you like to see in the punk scene in the future?
Well, our punk scene was lit. Let's just go with that. The one thing about Bakersfield being a small community of punks is we are a small community of punks, you know. If you know one punk, you know us all, you know. We are really, really connected, really, really connected. And that is one of the best things that I truly love about my friends, really, you know. And the best thing when we do invite other bands to come in and stay with us, it's what they love about us, you know, like we're close and we're really, really tight. But even in that, I still think there's more room for us to grow, as a community. You know, we also need we need to work to collaborate more. I would like to see my community collaborate and reach out to other communities a little bit more, you know, and see what we can do. And I think during COVID, everyone got a little scared, and it kind of brought us back to some inverted ways, you know. And I can't wait till we can get back as a community, get back to fighting together, and just be together, you know. I mean, that's just a real thing. But I would just like to see my community do more, you know, be a little bit more active, and bring in new, younger people too. I feel like our community is so stuck on just the punks, you know, and there's a lot of people that have the same ideas, same voices, same opinions. That's it. That's what I would think about our community.
Okay. Question number 10. When this is all over, what should be our next step?
Oh, man, that was a question that I was just stuck on. I was really stuck on. There's so many steps. There's just so many steps we have to take to rebuild. But I think now we have a better idea of what those steps can look like. I think for us, rebuilding our houseless community, getting back the civil rights that we believe and deserve, lifting our other communities, you know, raising everybody together. And I think that's the next step, is just collaborating, getting together, working together, and start changing shit.
Wow. Thank you so much for this interview. Much respect to you. And my heart goes out to all the respect to all the punks and activists in Bakersfield.
Thank you.
It just sounds so like, wow, I can't even describe in words. And any punks who are watching this or from outside or anything who want to support the scene in Bakersfield, like what could we do?
Definitely just help us out, you know. When we're trying to share these videos and trying to get some knowledge. I mean, you're one of the persons who reached out to me about a video, you know, and a lot of people had seen it, but no one really had the concern, you know. I think from the other communities, we just need a little bit of empathy. You know, I feel like in bigger cities, they're having a better turnout, a big community, they're getting more change versus we're still fighting to get people to show up. You know, so I just think that continued support from the outside communities is what we need. We have a protester who needs funds too. She was arrested, and you know, we'd like to get her some help. Helping like the Food Not Bombs is always the best way right now, because that's the only thing that's organized, I feel like, that we can do. But that's it, just the support. Give us support, you know, help us out, reshare the videos, repost things. You know, when you do see someone doing something, like, give them like, fuck yeah. You know, I think that's just what we need, is support from the other communities.
Okay, cool. Also, the person who got arrested at the Bakersfield, I'll post the link and everything. And,
Perfect. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was Nick Terra. That was a different one, but yeah, for sure. Oh, for sure. I mean, in fact, him and a couple of his friends who were in the video that you posted were in a lot of videos that have been shared around now publicly, from some of the Democrats who were protesting at their Biden thing. I wasn't at those ones, but they had the same problems as well. So it's the same people, it's the same group of people. In fact, that same parade had started in Bakersfield because they organized, went to Fresno, Santa Maria, and actually went around and just terrorized all of California. And they came from Bakersfield. So there we go.
I'm really worried about all the small town activists and punks and stuff, because I live in Northern California. It's so different and all that.
Right.
All right. Thank you very much. And I'll keep in touch with you. Don't hang up yet, please. All right. Bye.
Bye.